Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Coach Rock here from Revenge Basketball, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 3 simple hacks that you can use to help you increase your vertical jump very quickly. Now, keep in mind, these are 3 things that you can add to all different types of movements, and you'll see what I mean in a second. But these are 3 things that you should add to your daily regimen and just your daily athletic movements, your athletic practice or training. And again, you'll see what I mean in a second. But there's one key thing I want you to remember is that in the beginning, yes, it's going to feel, you might feel like these things are preventing you from jumping higher because you're overthinking. That's usually what happens anytime I show a player something about technique, or anytime I show them a tip to jump higher, they start thinking about that tip so much that it prevents them from jumping higher because they're thinking too much. It's okay, in the beginning that might happen, but over time you will see that it becomes a habit and it starts to become natural. And then you start doing all these things I showed you all naturally, and then you'll start to see rapid increase in your vertical jump. So keep that in mind when you're trying to implement these 3 tips that I share with you today. All right, so tip number 1 is all about your big toe. Okay, focus on pushing through the ground, through your toe as much as possible. Now, one quick way to practice this is just start understanding what it feels like. So doing calf raises stationary and pushing through that big toe, it might even hurt a little or get sore, I should say, because you might not be that, you might not be used to doing that. So first is just get the feeling. What does that feel like? All right, and then you can start adding it to basic jumps, but really focusing on pushing your big toe through the ground. And this doesn't only have to happen when you're jumping, but also in your movements, like when you're squatting, any type of movement you're doing like that, like back squat, goblet squat, single leg squat. When you squat, when you come up, you want to practice like pushing through your toes. Now this goes against, like if you're in Olympic lifting, it's taught that you always want to stay on your heels. So if you're an Olympic lifter, of course, keep doing that. But if you're a basketball player, you need to be focusing on exploding here through those toes, okay? So it's a little different, whereas regular squat, I might stay on my heels. If you want to be an explosive athlete, focus on pressing through your toes on your movements up. And then that comes into your vertical jump. When you start jumping, really focus on pushing through that big toe. Just by adding this big toe push to all your movements, your squatting, your jumping, you will see rapid improvements in your vertical jump. So tip number 2 is, this is really based on if you're just going to be doing a vertical jump test, or you're just going to be, let's just say you're dunking or practicing dunking. One thing you want to do, this is more of an instant fix, how to instantly add inches to your vertical jump, is stretching the hip flexor. Now the thing is, the hip flexor, it really doesn't have anything to do with jumping per se. All your muscles involved with jumping are in your posterior chain. So your calves, not as much your calves, mostly your hamstrings and glutes. Those are pretty much lower back. Those are the most important muscles when it comes to jumping higher. Your actual hips or hip flexors don't have too much to do with vertical jump, but what they can do is they can prevent you from jumping higher. So basically with the hip flexor stretch, basic hip flexor stretch, it's just here, you're here and you're holding for like 30 seconds. What you're trying to do is stretch this hip flexor so much, and essentially what they say is put it to sleep. So you're trying to put your hip flexors to sleep here, and I recommend doing like 3 sets of 30 seconds on each side. So all you're doing is going here, and this is a good exercise to do before you squat too, because it will help you get lower in your squat. But basically what you're doing is you're putting your hip flexor to sleep. So the thing that might prevent you from jumping as high as possible, you're putting it to sleep. So now it's not preventing you from not jumping higher, right? So it allows your posterior chain to just go full power. And a lot of times, I mean, I've seen players just on a regular standing vert test or running vert test add like 3 to 5 inches on their vertical jump just from this simple stretch. So it's a great stretch to add to get some quick inches onto your vertical jump right now. Now, the third hack for you today to increase your vertical jump is practice the descension. Focus on descending fast. So a lot of players are so focused on exploding up. That's where all their focus is. And yes, I mean, yes, you want to focus on that, but the faster you go down, the faster you're going to go up. So it's like a spring. Like the more power and pressure you put down, the more you're going to bring up. So one way to practice this, stand stationary here with your arms and practice the descending phase. All right, boom, like putting a lot of power going down, because the faster you go down, the faster you'll be able to go up. So that's one thing you want to practice. So even in your regular, when you're going into your approach, into your takeoff, when you're going here, you want to have a strong backswing so you can have a strong upswing. It's very hard to get as much force going up if you're just going like this. Also, by forcing that downward motion with your arms, it's going to make you get into your penultimate faster. Because again, look, if I have slow descension arm swing, it's very hard to explode into my vertical jump. But now when I'm descending quickly, you can just see just from that how much more powerful my jump is going to be. So take some time to practice the actual descending part. Now there's like a bonus tip you can add to that. If you have like small weights, I would say like the 5-pound barbell plates, or even like 5-pound dumbbells, or 2-pound, 2.5-pound, is have the weights in your hand and practice both. Take some time and separate it. I think that's one key that can help you also, is practice going down, practice exploding up, then practice both together. So practice just going down, it's kind of like you're skiing really, where you're trying to push back as fast as possible on the descension, and then practice going up as hard and as strong as possible. And then you start putting it together. Remember, our first tip was pushing through our toes. So then you can start putting it all together, where you're going down, up, through your toes, down, up, through your toes. And just isolating those movements can do a lot for your vertical jump without even jumping. Because as we know, jumping takes a toll on our body. So I never recommend players go out there and just jump every single day. While that could help you increase your vertical jump, it also opens you up to injury. So it's a riskier situation. You might get a little faster results if you went out there and you jumped every day, but what good does that do you if in 2 weeks your knees are hurting and you can't jump for 2 weeks? So it's best to rest your muscles and your joints. And even on days when you can't go out there and jump and actually do max jumps, you can still at home, anywhere. I mean, you can see these don't take any space at all. You can go in your room, your basement, garage, anywhere, and you can practice these small exercises that will help you rapidly increase your vertical jump. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed it, do me a big favor, hit the thumbs up for me, comment below, let me know what else you need help with. Last but not least, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Until next time, I'll see you then.